Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. This is Radio Free Mormon on the air, broadcasting behind enemy lines. Tonight's episode, part 2 of MTC Sex Scandal: The Recordings. In part 1, we played the recording of the initial report that McKenna Denson made to BYU Police Department back in early December of 2017 regarding her allegation that she had been raped in the basement of the Missionary Training Center when she was a sister missionary back in 1984 by the Missionary Training Center President Joseph Bishop. After receiving that report from McKenna Denson, BYU PD drove from Utah down to Arizona to confront Joseph Bishop in his own home and interview him regarding that allegation. This interview was conducted in the living room of Joseph Bishop's home in Arizona. Once again, it has taken Radio Free Mormon 2 years to obtain this audio tape, which finally, after protracted litigation and negotiation and mediation, is made available to the public today, April 7th, 2020 at 2 o'clock Mountain Time. This recording will be released at that time. So here is the audio recording of the approximately 1 hour interview conducted by BYU PD with Joseph Bishop back in early December of 2017. Play the tape.
Here's my friends.
How are you doing?
How are you? Come on in.
All right, thanks.
Sorry, just got out of bed.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. I'm Sergeant Nelson. I'm with BYU Police Department. This is Detective Long.
Come and sit down.
Thanks. You were expecting us, I bet. Were you?
I never know what to do about
All right.
life. Let me turn on a light for us.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to meet over there and you here, or?
Either way, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
You mind if I take my jacket off?
Please. Sorry.
Pick you up.
Well,
It's all right.
just got out of the hospital a little while ago.
Oh, what? How long ago was that?
Oh, it's last week. My heart, so it's
All
time.
right. Yes, that is not good. So you probably know why we're here, right?
Pardon me?
So do you know why we're here?
I have no idea. I have an idea, but you just tell me.
All right.
Do I need an attorney?
Well, that's totally up to you. I can't advise you either way, but I think there needs to be some things that need to be, that you probably ought to talk to us about.
Okay.
You had a visitor a couple days ago.
And her name?
Mm-hmm.
What?
She goes by,
Okay. I know her.
so she called us and I told us her side of what had happened. So we're here to get your side of it. So did you meet with her?
Yes, I knew. I
Okay.
was in the MTC. She was a missionary there.
Okay. When were you at the MTC?
My memory isn't as good as it was. I'm 85 and nearly 86.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like it was 83 to 86.
83 to 86. What was your capacity there?
83, 86. I was president.
Okay. So you're president of the MTC?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how did you know,
She was, I can't remember how it started, but she was, she had some problems. It seems like, I think it was her father or stepfather had abused her. And at that time, so she came in to talk about that. I think that's how I met her.
Okay. So, were you aware of that abuse before she got there, or
Pardon me?
were you aware of the abuse before she got there, or was it when she
No.
got there she had?
No, she came in
Oh, okay.
some way. That was the foundation of her struggles with life.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So, what was your relationship? How'd that go?
Well, it started off counseling, trying to help her, type thing.
So-
She seemed, well, that's about it.
Okay. So, where did things escalate from there?
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Okay. How did it escalate?
Well, I really don't know. It just, she, just one item after another would come in and that kind of thing.
So, how many times did you meet with her? Did you meet with her like one-on-one, or how did? So there was times when you were alone with her.
Yes.
Okay, and so it sounds like that relationship, that friendship, whatever it was, it got physical.
Yes.
Okay. And how did that? Can you tell me about that?
What I remember of it and what she remembers of it is not the same.
Oh, there's always two sides. That's why we're here.
I'm trying to be honest. See, my position is, I'm not. I've got a heart condition. 85. I'm not going to be around much longer.
Sure.
So what I say here needs to be, well, it does anyway, based upon this truth, because I'm going to be meeting my maker pretty soon. I want what I say here to be reflected there. I don't know how that's going to turn out. But
None of us do. And as priesthood holders, I think that probably the best thing you could do is just to be honest. Let's just put it out. I don't know if you've ever
I don't have any trouble with that.
Have you ever talked to anybody before about this?
Yes.
Okay. Ecclesiastical or law enforcement or?
Ecclesiastical.
Okay. So it was never dealt with. This is the first time it sounds like you've ever talked to law enforcement.
This is the first time with law enforcement.
Okay. So things escalated. You're the president of MTC. She has some issues, more like we say past abuse or something from a.
Well, she'd been abused. She seemed to be very street smart. She'd had a baby out of wedlock, and was obviously struggling with that.
Okay. So then, how did things go? What happened?
There's so much the little things like she. I remember one occasion they called me and said that she had gone over to the temple. She was in a wedding dress, and it was just a fun thing that she was doing with some of the other missionaries, role-playing and getting married, etc.
At the temple?
Yeah. So
like on the temple grounds, or were they inside the temple? Or?
Temple grounds.
Okay, all right.
I don't remember much of except that I went over to the temple, got her, brought her back, and told her, wasn't appropriate, etc. She came in one time and told me, I'm talking about hearsay of her, what I remember of her saying things to me. And then there's the other side of what I did. So
Mm-hmm.
she had some kind of escapade with some guy, and there was intimacy.
At the MTC or somewhere
No,
else?
somewhere else.
Oh.
I just remember her telling me about it. And this guy, they'd been intimate, but I don't think there was intercourse. There was everything but intercourse, as she was explaining. But she was telling me about apparently there was a crib in the room wherever they were, and that was, he had fathered a child, and so she was telling me that this was going on when he was, she was saying she wasn't happy about his approaching her when he had impregnated another lady, and that's just one of the little things that she'd had a checkered life. I remember another thing she said was that, and she couldn't remember this, we talked about it. Harder. Just left me. Just trying to bring it up now. Bottom line, well, and she couldn't remember this, and this is, I don't understand this, but she'd gone to church somewhere and got an operation the church paid for some way.
Mm-hmm.
To have breast enhancement, which led to what. And I know that to be true.
Was this before or
It
after?
was during this whole process.
While she was at the MTC, or
She was still at the MTC.
so she had a breast augmentation while at the MTC. Prior to.
Before.
Mm-hmm. Prior to the MTC,
Okay.
and this I feel confident. I talked to her about it, and she just laughed that this was not the case, because a church official called, and he was upset that the church had paid for this. Did I know her, this kind of thing? And I tried to defend her because it was one already done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you take that away.
So then, what was your involvement? At what point? It sounds like there was a lot of drama, around her while she was at the MTC.
Mm-hmm.
So what led to the point to where you got involved with her?
My marital life wasn't going well, so there was that kind of intrigue on the side. So my office was sometimes very busy, so I found a place where I could go and do my work without too much interruption. It was used to be in, I don't think it's in a basement, but it's the back end of the MTC storage kind of place. And I used to go there quietly to work.
In the main admin building.
It was the end of the admin building, looking north.
So if you went to the north end of the, kind of by the cafeteria?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of the cafeteria.
Okay.
smelly place. It was near the cafeteria and all the, well, it wasn't too smelly, but anyway, I don't remember how, whether I invited her, whether she just came, but I was there and she came, and we talked about, I talked about, she talked about, I can't remember, but the breast augmentation. I wanted to see her breasts, how the operation, etc. A couple of reasons. One, just being the natural man. That was one thing. The other thing was, I thought maybe that would be a good thing for my marriage. I don't know why I thought that, because my wife was not, So it's probably the natural man more than anything else. But she...
Maybe exaggerated because of the struggles you have with your wife.
Probably, but I don't want to blame that. I have to take responsibilities for me, and I'm just as best I can, bringing up my recollection of that.
Okay.
Anyway, she exposed herself that way, and I saw her breasts. I don't remember touching them. I might have. I just don't remember any more than that. This is the part that she doesn't remember. She accused me of trying to rape her. I don't have any recollection, anything like that. She said I tore her blouse, or something like that. That didn't happen in my mind.
What kind of physical contact happened in that room that you remember?
I'm telling you all that I remember about it. I don't remember kissing, hugging, embracing rather, anything like that. She has a different story on this, and I don't, he said, she said. But the point that I'm making, it was not appropriate for me to even be there with her in that room. She intrigued me because she was experienced, and I could talk to her about my lack of fulfillment in the marriage.
So you talk.
I'm not blaming my wife. I'm trying to just do the best I can, be as honest as I can.
You're fine. So you and sister, how many times would you say before it led up to this?
Had I met with her?
Had you met with her privately? You talked about maybe some personal stuff on your side of it.
I can't answer that. I don't remember.
Okay. How was that room set up?
Oh, it was a storage room, as I recall. Had a table where I could work, and etc.
What else was in there? So you had a table?
I can't remember. It's just an old storage room. Maybe a workroom type.
So you don't remember anything else being in there?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff there that I do not remember.
Who had access to that room?
Oh, I'm assuming that the maintenance people.
Okay.
It was just kind of not in use when I don't know how I even was not looking for it, but it came up one time. There, I can go there and get some work done,
Is there work that you could do in there that you couldn't do in your office?
The type of work I could do there was the quiet meditation work of, we have this problem, and I could do this, I could do that, and how to work with that kind of thing. It was the quiet type of thing.
Was there a telephone in that room?
No,
Was there a TV in that room?
no.
Was there a chair in that room?
Must have been, because I didn't stand up to work.
Okay, so possibly there was for sure a table? You said you'd mentioned that earlier.
I can't remember whether it was a table or a workbench, but yes, there was
Some type of,
some type
okay.
of table.
And possibly a chair?
Yes,
Was there a bed in there?
no.
There was no bed? Okay.
Well, this was workroom type thing.
Was there a VCR in there? Okay. So it sounds like that there was some type of a workbench or table and possibly a chair. Was there any other storage items in there?
I don't recall.
Okay. So from the time that you just entered that storage closet, what was the?
It was a room. It wasn't a closet.
Oh, it was an actual room. Okay.
Did it have like mechanical boxes,
A what?
mechanical box and wiring, anything like that, or was it just a storage? Or
As best I recall, brethren, it was storage slash mechanical workroom type thing for maintenance. Wasn't
was it kind of a smaller room, or
well, that'll just ring through. It's about this, as I recall, about the size of where we are now, maybe a little bigger.
okay, just a little space right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
What
could have been bigger.
what do you think the duration of the time was from the time you entered that room to the time that you had left?
Oh, I visited the room.
No, I'm sorry. When you entered with Sister that day, you said that
Don't know.
you don't remember that you don't recall the time. Okay, so let me just kind of recap so I get it right. So you you don't know if she followed you, if you invited her, or
No. I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure that she didn't follow me. I'm trying to take responsibility.
and I appreciate it.
I don't remember how it occurred, but I don't think she followed me, and I think
Okay.
it was like my invite or something that got us there together.
Okay. So then, did you ask her to expose her breasts, or
Yes.
okay, all right,
I don't remember it, but I'm sure I did.
okay.
I mean, it just was.
And so you enter the room, you ask her to expose her breasts. You say that did she willingly? You said she had pulled up.
As I recall, she just pulled up her. I don't think.
No, that's fine. No, that's
I don't think she took any clothes off.
okay. So it sounds like she could have pulled up a blouse or a shirt or something that she was wearing.
As I recall, like that.
Did you see bare skin, or was it
Yes.
garments, or what? So it was bare skin.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. So after she pulls her shirt up and exposes her breasts, what happens after that?
Nothing.
Do you make a comment? You say you don't remember
I'm sure I
touching,
made a
but
comment. I don't remember anything other than that, and that she then left. Here's where our stories. She said that I tried to rape her, and I would have, except I couldn't get an erection. The one thing that was clear in my mind through this was the sin of intercourse wasn't going to happen. I was titillated to the point of wanting to see her breast, but I could not have, my mind's eye couldn't have done that. It would be too crossing the line.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing around with firecracker.
So you said you couldn't have done it because you couldn't get an erection?
No, that's her story.
Oh, that's her story? Okay.
I couldn't have done it because of my belief that would have been beyond what I could have done. I wouldn't have done that.
When you say titillated, you think you had an erection? Did you have an erection then?
I don't remember any of that.
Okay.
That's probably the wrong word.
So how can you
It
just...
was interesting to me to talk to somebody who has had all of that experience in life and how she felt about it. Kind of helped me through my stuff because the physical part of our marriage was where we didn't see eye to eye.
So how would you be able to, like, how do you explain why there's such a difference in your remembering of what happened and what she is remembering what happened?
I have two thoughts. One, that it was so serious that I buried it, which is possible. Two, that it's my work at the MTC, we often had, not often, but we had sisters come in who had been abused. And through that counseling, not with me, but with our counseling department, I found that sometimes telling the story gets augmented, and pretty soon the sisters have a firm conviction that this happened when it may or may not have.
With sisters or with elders?
The sisters that had been abused, the sisters that came and go, you know. I do know that's the case. I have a friend who was accused by his daughter of abusing her. Apparently it wasn't true, but she had, in her mind, a father loving her was transformed to abuse. I don't know, brethren. I wish I did. I have absolutely, all I can tell you is I have absolutely no memory of that at all. All I remember is her raising her blouse to show me her breasts. I'm sure I asked for that. I can't imagine that she would just do that without that, but I don't remember any of the other, and she does, and I have to. I'm in a quandary about that.
So she leaves the room. Do you ever have any verbal or physical contact with her again after that incident, or what happened after that? What was the relationship like?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Now this sounds, I don't remember, which is not uncommon in a lot of things I remember, but I think I remember that. No, she left and I left and we parted that way.
And you don't remember having any more contact with her, any more one-on-one sessions or anything?
No.
Okay. Do you remember where she was going on her mission?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So do you remember pulling her out of her classrooms, like to go meet with her?
She said that too. I do not remember that. I'm not saying it's not true, because
But you just don't remember.
well, she had troubles. She had problems. So I may have pulled her out to find out more. I know she mentioned that to me too.
Did you ever bring any other sisters down to that room where you prepare?
Not that I recall. Not that I recall. She said I had. I don't recall that. She was the one that
Do you remember Sister?
I do. She also was the one that I got a call one day and they said, and that's how I met. I wanted to get her some help, and I'd had a hard time getting a budget increase to get some professional help. So I went to and told him the story and I'd asked before and it was turned down. So that was my concern. And we got an increase in budget to hire somebody. I sought counseling. At that time, we're using a man from the Army, a chaplain. But he didn't have the training that we really needed for these serious problems. I didn't think, and I think he would say the same. And I found, I think his brother was his name, I hired him, and he took over therapy.
Did you pay for that?
No,
Who paid for that?
the church.
So the church paid for Brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, he was then on salary.
Oh, he was an
became-
employee, and
He was an employee of the MTC.
so he was hired specifically
He
for,
was hired, not specifically for.
but at the MTC as a crisis worker or mental health or counselor. Or,
Counselor.
okay. What's his name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He came to my office and said that in this case what he wanted to do was keep her in a good environment. She had recollection of seemed like an uncle. Her thing was she was sexually abused by several members of her family. Maybe an uncle, maybe a stepfather, maybe a father. I don't remember that, but she had that problem. He didn't want her to go back into that environment, apparently. So he said, let's keep her here at the MTC, so she's in the environment.
Was there anything that happened between you and?
Yes. She came in one evening, wanted a back rub. I gave her a back rub that was not planned, it was a surprise to me. But anyway, it was towards the buttocks area also, about whole back. And then that, we stopped and she went and I thought, wow, that was not appropriate. That was not appropriate.
So was that back rub, was it on the clothes, over the clothes,
No, it was
or something else?
Over her clothes.
So was there skin-to-skin contact?
I don't recall, but I don't think so.
So it was a back rub that worked into the lower back?
Well, the whole back and ended up down lower than it should have been.
On the buttocks or something else?
Yeah,
And did it move to the front of her body?
no. No.
Okay. Did it go anywhere besides her buttocks?
I don't. That was about it.
Okay. Was anything said between you and her about that?
She came back and was. I don't remember, but there's something about that we discussed it, and she was. I said, okay, we're just part of the family. I'm sorry. I don't know as I said I'm sorry. I don't remember except that we explained it away, and she seemed fine, and I felt okay, except for the fact that it had happened, and
Sure,
didn't
yeah.
feel okay about that.
Have you kept in contact with?
No,
Okay. Where's she from? Do you remember?
it was from. I don't recall that either. It seemed to me like it was someplace like that. I'm not. I better not comment on that because I don't know.
Oh, it's fine. No, it's. You know if she ever got married and after her mission?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think she got a job as dredging it up here. And she ended up marrying, was not a member of the church. She taught him the gospel. He turned, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
No, where was this at? Where was she?
Pardon me?
Where was she?
Wherever they lived, I don't remember what it was.
Oh,
That's kind of a cool story.
I think it is.
Yeah. Do you think, did they stay married? Did they have
Well,
kids?
To my recollection, there was a good marriage. They're still married.
Oh, good.
That didn't track out.
Sure. No, that's cool. That's good. Do you remember her last name?
Her married name.
Her married name?
No.
Okay. But she was from possibly,
I
don't know. Wasn't Utah though, right? It was.
No.
Okay. All right. So you, this is quite a few years ago. Since then, I'm sure you've, been through your fair share of temple recommend interviews. And did your wife ever know about this?
The thing?
Yes. No, not, but it's just
None of them?
with either one of them.
I don't think so.
So you never cleared that with your wife then? It never was something that, okay.
No. It wasn't. It was a thing of. No, I did not.
Okay. And, but you said you took care of it ecclesiastically
Yes.
through a bishop
Both
or somebody
cases.
else?
Bishop.
Was it somebody higher than that? Was state president? Or was it while you were mission president? Or at what point in your life did you try to make that right? Did you,
Oh, right away.
were you still the MTC president when you,
Yes.
do you remember who you talked to about it?
I don't.
Did you stay on as president after you had,
Yes.
so you continued on with your duties as the MTC president? Okay.
Mhm.
So as the MTC president, would you, is your hierarchy one of the,
Pardon me?
is it MTC
I'm a little-
president? Okay. As the MTC president, would you necessarily go to a bishop to resolve that, or would you go to,
I
Managing director.
attended a ward. I don't remember
oh,
where I went, but it was an appropriate
I see, so, okay.
ecclesiastical.
So probably a bishop.
probably. My life is hard to understand for me. I have had, this is an aside, I've had so many blessings. It pains me to think that I was wayward. I've had spiritual experiences, the MTC being one of them. We reorganized the whole MTC. Story of that is when I took over there, I had this deep feeling that we needed to improve the process, the program. So I took the directors of instruction on an off-site workshop, and I said, teach me. I need to know everything about the MTC. I'm new, I don't know, you tell me. And in that process, I asked, how can we improve? It wasn't planned, it was, just trying to get up to speed with my responsibilities. And I remember there was no answer to that. We're fine, President, we're fine. And I thought, they know, because they're here, they've been here, they've seen presidents come and go. And so everything's fine. Nevertheless, that concern was ever with me. We need to do something. I didn't know what, didn't know how. But I called another off-site workshop, and this time I said, okay, tell me what we want the missionary to be able to do, to think, believe after their training. Talk to me about that. And everybody got excited, and they had all kinds of ideas. I was up on the board writing, and we ended up with everybody being excited about what we call the profile of the missionary, which detailed what they wanted to have happen. I took the profile back to my office. This is part of the escape to a place to look at, think, and you don't need to.
No, that's fine.
I'm just telling you my life now, how it's made me ashamed, and at the same time, anyway, so what I did was I found there was about a 40% mismatch between what they wanted to have happen to the missionary and what was actually in the training program. So then I went back, I had another, is this one wrong or is this one wrong? Because they both can't be right. If we are training here and yet we think we want to do this, how do we reconcile that? That ended up in deep analysis of the program of the MTC. We call that the mission statement of the MTC. It was the statement was a great improvement over what we were doing, what we wanted to do then, now united. I didn't have, I think with the exception of maybe one person, it was a united front that we wanted to get this. Took it to, and that started the process of, and he was then moved from the missionary, he was the executive director of the missionary department of the church.
As a 70, is that right?
As a 70.
Mm-hmm.
No, yes, as a 70. First council, first quorum, rather. And said, would you like to? He was ambivalent. He wanted to do it, then the next week he didn't want to do it. And finally, okay, we won't do it. But then he was moved, and I went to him and said, would you like to hear our work for the last 2.5 years. And I also told him, but you should know that before you answer, had heard it and turned it down. So you're not going blindly into, not going around anybody, that type thing. And he said, come see me Thursday, got a half an hour. Said to me, Joe, if you don't care who gets the credit, I think I can punch this one through. Well, the answer was, who cares about the credit? This isn't that at all. He was asking me because I put my life's blood into it. And I had enough experience to know that I, Joe Bishop, President of the MTC, a presidency that changes every 3 years, didn't have the clout with all of the general authorities, but that did. He took it to who had a lot of clout, and he was the next in line to, I'm way too busy, I'm saying too much about stuff that's irrelevant. But it goes back to trying to find peace in my life.
What are your fears?
Pardon?
What are your fears with this?
My fear is I don't know how I'll be judged. I want to be with my family. I don't know if that can happen. I don't want my family saddened because of my foolishness. That's the same question. I gave her the same answer that, yeah, I don't want to bring sorrow and hurt to any more people. I need pain. It's my suffering. I've done everything that I can, I think, through the years to figure out my life. That's why I'm telling this little story about how I was inspired. I was inspired. It wasn't my experience, my background, or anything, to ask those questions. I was inspired to redo the whole training program of the MTC. Those things I know to be true. Then I put me in this other light and say, what in the world were you thinking, Joe Bishop? You've had this experience and many others. Same thing as mission president in Argentina. We went from 30 baptisms a month up to 400 a month while I was there, all through inspiration, all through counsel of others. What was I thinking? You see, I've had all of these experiences.
Well, that's just it, right? I mean,
Pardon?
that's just it. Everybody will do good things,
I've had-
but they still will make mistakes. We all do that.
We all do that, but I've had bigger experiences, at least as I can tell you, my patriarchal blessing is just very specific. You will do this, 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 this. It's not common in patriarchal. All of that's happened except one revelation that I haven't received. Now I know that could never come, or that could come on the other side. I'm just saying, I'm mad at me for having felt the Spirit so strongly and have acted foolishly.
So, Brother Bishop, I agree. I think, Heavenly Father uses us to do great things here. And you pegged it. We're all the natural man. And that's just the way it is. I think right now, and you said this earlier, you're 85. Life on this earth is, it's coming to an end quickly.
I also have a heart condition.
You have a heart condition.
I'm here to be close to family. They check in on me.
Mm-hmm. So,
Sorry, I'm not.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. So I'm going to ask you something
Yes.
that we're asked in our temple recommend interviews. Is there anything else that we need before we walk out that door
That you know.
that we need to know to make this right? Whether it was at the MTC in South America.
Okay, let me tell you the story.
We just right now is a time for you.
Right.
We're going to walk out of here, and this is
I understand.
your opportunity.
You're kind of like my ecclesiastical leaders right here. When I was president of the of mission in Argentina, each time I had an event in my life that was not right, I went to my bishop. And I think I've taken care of all those things. But in Argentina, we had changed the dynamics of the mission. We were baptizing more than the adversary wanted us to baptize. And one of our sister missionaries started to have problems with evil spirits. In giving her a blessing, I ended up with the evil spirits plaguing me every day. Gave me a blessing. His favorite stake president gave me a blessing. Didn't work. I still was, went to him. I said, okay, I want to confess everything that I can think of. And I went through everything I then could think of. And he stopped me and said, well, haven't you? And I said, yes, I have, but I want to make sure. So in answer to your question, I did that way back when. And every incident has been talked to a bishop. I'm not sure that the bishop heard the severity of it, but yes, I had in this case, and other cases through my life, confessed everything.
So you say every case, are these sexual cases?
Well, everything that needed to be talked about.
What about, so law enforcement, were there other cases that we need to be aware of? I mean, there's talking to your bishop, and there's where you cross that line, there's criminal activity.
No. What are my, speaking of the criminal activities, what might happen to me?
That is a very valid question, and we're not going to put you in cuffs and haul you away. We're going to walk out that door. We're going to give this to the county prosecutor in Utah County, and let them make the decision on it. So I don't know, to be honest with you. I can't answer it. I don't know what's going to happen.
So that's, right now we've talked to her, and we've talked to...
Would you speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. So right now we've talked to, and...
She called you, I assume.
Yep, she called and made a formal police report, and that's why we're here. And so then we
Was
talked
that
to you.
recent?
Yeah, we just found out about it. Drove. And then depending on what you say and what she says, then
There's a difference there for sure.
Yeah, and so to resolve those differences, then perhaps there may be investigations of interviewing multiple individuals that maybe have had a part into it, possible witnesses.
I don't know many individuals that... Thank you.
Yeah, so we try to do a thorough job looking into both sides.
I know.
And then the prosecutors will have to determine whether, if there's enough evidence to file charges or not.
And the charges might be what?
Well, she's accused you of more physical and forceful contact, including rape.
Including rape
Yes.
or attempted rape?
Well, Rape is just any penetration at all. Doesn't even have to be lengthy or anything at all.
In my mind, it didn't happen, so she lied to me.
In what way?
We had this meeting. I apologized. And she wanted to know if she's mad at the church. And I understand why. Because she took this case, my case, partly that. And I never heard from her. So she thinks the church is not only this, but she's had trouble, she struggled with the church. And with her husband, they're now divorced, and I don't know what happened there, but she's mad at him because he was a good LDS guy, taught gospel doctrine, and anyway, I don't know the details of that. But she, where was I going with this?
Just that she had lied to you?
Oh, so I called her back. She said, did he ever approach you? And I said, no, he never did. And then I got to thinking later that someone had called me that probably came from the office, and I had told them about what I'm telling you, and that I had taken care of it ecclesiastically, the same way that as if you were my bishop today. And so I said, don't blame, I was trying to say, don't blame the church, don't blame, I said, I need to be fair. That probably came from, so he did follow up on your case. And so then she said, well, I've decided, because we talked also about, I didn't want my children and my grandchildren to be devastated with the actions of my actions. Didn't want that to happen. It seems kind of popular today. All the news is about wayward men and their reactions in the political arena and all over the place. And I know what it does to those families. I'm looking at that and saying, wow, that's there. She said that she had decided not to, that she said that she accepted my statement of she'd forgiven me, in a word. She said that, forgive me. And I thought, anyway, I told her this other thing about, and that's the last conversation we had.
She called us before she met with you. And she didn't tell us that she met with you. Until right before. So she made a police report and then met with you without us knowing. And so, but because she made that report, we're bound by
of course
our duty, to follow up with it, and that's what we did.
Well,
so do you think she's making this up? That there was no physical contact?
I do not. But I don't think she's accurate. I think it's the syndrome type thing that I've heard about.
Mental illness is causing her.
Well, you want to. This happened, when it didn't really happen. She wanted to accuse me of rape. Didn't happen. But what did happen was the foundation for her to try. That sounds like I'm casting blame on her. This girl has had a lot of problems in her life, baby out of wedlock, she's kind of like a feminist, and she's gonna get you. Life, not me, but life is. She's not going to put up with it. And she's very tough. She's been through a lot. In the MTC, my heart went out to her. She's just been through a lot. Very streetwise. She told me the story of it, and I mentioned, did you have bikers? She told me the story that the male that had abused her when she was younger, that she had some biker friends and they were going to go beat up on him type thing. So she was for retribution, and she told me the same thing. But she couldn't remember. She said she didn't have any biker friends. I went, well, what is it? A story that she told way back when?
So this story was something that came out of at the MTC and not this last meeting.
Oh yeah, no,
okay.
way
Right.
back when. I'm just trying to put it in context. She asked me if what she believes, I suspect she believes it. Is it true? I suspect it isn't. Maybe my memory's faded. But brethren, as honest as I can be, that never happened. Absolutely. Unequivocally.
So you're saying you have no memory of that at all?
No, and I don't think it was something I could have done. What happened is what I've told you. So, does she believe it? I think she does. Is it right? I don't know. It's not think. I just can't believe that. I know what happened. I couldn't have forgotten that. I didn't forget the other. Why would I forget something? I've been as honest as I can be.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us.
Pardon me?
We appreciate you talking to us.
Well, I recognize that, you hear the stories that if the FBI comes knocking on your door, you better get an attorney. Well, my attorney is upstairs. I don't know what's going to happen, but I didn't want to harm the people around me. I have a lady I was going to marry, and she's struggled with life also, and the church. And I've been working, trying to help that along. And she will come, if this comes out to her, that will end our plans to be married for sure. And I don't think it's just, in a way, to damage other people. You do what you want here that's appropriate. But to harm all of my children, my grandchildren, my fiance, beyond the pale, I think, for what I recall of the incident. I think it's just foolishness on my part, but I don't know. But that's as honest as I can be.
I've got one last question.
Sure.
Are you circumcised?
Yes.
Okay.
She said I was or wasn't.
Well,
Yes, I am.
okay.
I do not believe that. Most of us are, but she's got a case there, hasn't she?
Any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
Any questions for us, Brother Bishop?
Timeline.
Probably after the first of the year. I'm thinking by the time you hear something, yay or nay, could be February.
That's nice. That's suffering time.
It is suffering time. Well, I'll leave you a card.
Then let me make sure we get your contact. We have your address. What's a phone number we could reach you? Okay. And it's Joseph Leighton Bishop.
That's my proper name.
Okay, and your date of birth is... Okay. Yeah, we'll be in touch with you at some point. Depends on how much further the investigation goes.
I don't know what else I could say.
Well, if there's anything you can think of,
Thank you, sir.
there's a card there. You can get a hold of us if there's anything you want to call us about.
I think I've told you everything I can dredge up.
We won't leave you hanging. As soon as we find something out, we'll give you a call. We'll let you know.
Please.
Yes, for sure.
Well, yes, I'd like
Okay.
that.
Yep. All right, we'll get out of your hair.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Matt.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for talking with us.
Glad you found my little house. It's
Yes,
been tough to
I know, it's nice. It's a great community here you're in.
Well, working forward right now, that's
It's great there.
Thank you.
This concludes our interview with Joseph Bishop. The time is 9:14 a.m. It's December 5th, 2017.
So that was the 1-hour interview that BYU PD conducted with Joseph Bishop back in early December of 2017. In the third segment to this podcast, I will be releasing a collection of 3 additional audio recordings that I obtained as part of this lawsuit. Please stay tuned because things continue to get more and more interesting. That's about all for tonight. Until next time, this is Radio Free Mormon, signing off the air.